Okay, boys and girls, we are going to start by painting the background for our Square One art. And just like the Jim Dime paintings that we saw, we're just going to paint freely in the background, mixing colors and just making sure that you fill the entire space. We don't want to leave any white space. So from the black line where it says top, all the way down, you want to fill it up with lots of color. And just be careful that you don't end up mixing all the colors and then you'll get brown. So remember that if you mix red, blue, and yellow all together, you're going to get brown. So I'll do a quick demonstration and then you just paint your own background.
It's easy as 1, 2, 1, 2, there's only one thing to do, 3 words for you. I love you. There's only one way to say those 3 words, and that's what I'll do. I love you. I love you. It's easy as 1, 2, 1, 2, there's only one thing to do, 3 words for you. I love you. There's only one way to say those 3 words, and that's what I'll do. I love you. I love you.
Okay, and now you see I'm just going to be making a little texture, adding some texture to the painting with some dots, still being careful about which colors I'm mixing. You could make stripes if you wanted to, or little swirls, or any kind of little shape in the background. That's up to you. And then the next thing we're going to do is add a heart on top of it. Okay, you want to make sure that your background has dried. And then one option for the heart is to get a piece of paper and cut out a heart stencil. I'm taking the short side and folding it in half, short side to short side. This is what we call a hamburger fold, and you see the fold here and the other side is open. And I'm going to draw half of a heart on the fold in order to make my stencil, but I need to compare it to my background and make sure that it's going to fit. I don't want to make it too big for the background. Make sure you're drawing on the fold, and you just do a big candy cane line like we would for half of a heart. And I can tell that that's going to fit on my background paper. So now I'm going to cut it out. Make sure you're cutting on the fold. Start at the fold and end at the fold. Okay, so I see my heart is going to fit fine. When I open up that paper where I cut the heart out, I now have a stencil, and I can just line up the top of my paper with the top line of my background and hold it in place. Make sure it fits there, okay? Hold it in place, and then I've got some paint. I put red paint and a little pink paint together so I could kind of get some lights and darks in my heart. And then I'm just going to dip my brush in here and dab into that space. And the most important thing is that I make sure to go all the way around the edge, because that is where I'll be making the line for the heart. So you're pressing on top of that white stencil paper as well as inside of the heart space. And that's what creates your heart line. And it's okay if you leave some of that space in the middle of the heart empty, or you can completely fill it in. But the main thing is that you have to go all the way around the edge of the heart. And just keep filling it in until you get the color that you want, or get it as thick as you want. And as long as you hold it in place, hold that stencil in place, you will be able to lift up one side and check to make sure that you're happy with it. So I can decide if I want to fill in that blue space or leave it the way it is. I'm going to lay it back down and fill it in, but that would be up to you depending on how yours is painted. And now I have my heart in the middle of my paper. Now that's one way we can do it. The other option that I'm going to show you is making a heart with your handprint. So watch that and then decide which way you're going to make your heart. Okay, another option for making your heart is to do it as a handprint. So you can see here that there are two handprints inside my heart. I painted my hand and then I used the palm of my hand to create the bumps at the top of the heart. So you might want to turn the paper around, that'll be easier, and then make a print. Then you might want to put more paint on your hand, make another print, the fingertips overlap, and then let it dry, and then you can cut it out. It does not matter what color paint you use or what color the paper is that you're doing that on, but I would do it on a separate piece of paper, not directly on your Square One art paper. And just make sure that you can see the paint on top of the paper. Don't use a color of paper that's too dark for the paint. Okay, and then if you choose this option, then you'll want to put glue stick on the back of that heart, and then you'll glue it down where our stenciled heart is, only you wouldn't do the stenciling, you would just do the handprint. When you have finished that and it's dry, you're going to need to put your name inside of your piece of art. And it tells us at the top of the form to keep important details at least 1 inch away from the edge of the drawing space. So you need to measure out 1 inch to be sure that you're not writing too close to the edge. And then you just need to write your first name with a permanent marker like a Sharpie. And you could use black or any other color that will show up well on your paint. And if you want to write the year, you can write 2021. Just try to write it nice and neat. And then when everything is dry, you can bring this back to the bin where you got the Square One paper out and put it back in and have it there by March 1st so that I can submit it for Square One art.